Six-time NASCAR champion Jimmie Johnson and wife Chandra came to the Pentagon Thursday to see.
You hear so much about the Pentagon growing up, and actually be inside the building and walking the halls is pretty special.
And to be seen. Johnson's racing fame garnered some fan attention.
Appreciate it. Yep, you got it.
We'll see you at the race.
Thank you. See you there.
The Johnsons' personal tour took them to the briefing room, where Jimmie exchanged professional notes with the department spokesman, George Little.
It's an intense job, but
Yeah.
you have one heck of an intense job too. So
Mine at least has some structure around weekends and races and stuff, and I'm sure you're just on the go, on the fly.
Different kind of race, I guess.
Yeah.
In my world.
The Johnsons visited the Pentagon 9/11 Memorial in a driving rain, a day after he finished second in a rain-delayed race in Atlanta. He thought back to how he experienced September 11th, 2001.
I just remember being scared and not knowing what was going to happen for the remainder of that day and then in the future.
The crowds that come to visit the Vietnam Wall now cut across age lines. It has become the most visited monument in Washington, even though more than half of Americans alive today were born after the Vietnam War ended.
We owe this to the youngsters to bridge the gap between then and now. We need to take yesterday and make it today. Today is yesterday tomorrow, and we need to be sure they understand the mistakes we made, the good things we achieved, and most importantly, the sacrifices of service to the greatest country in the world, the United States of America.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund has raised money to build an education center near the wall. It will display many of the hundreds of thousands of objects left at the wall over the years.
Here it says, I'm here to give thanks to my heroes. My cousin was in Iraq, and I had an uncle die in Vietnam, and I'm very proud of what they both did to protect this country. So this is what we're doing here. The country needs to be reminded that a small percentage of Americans are defending their freedom and keeping them safe, and this is a perfect place to do it.
During his time as commander of Regional Command Southwest, Major General John Tulin formed a strong working relationship with Helmand Province Governor Gulab Mangal. The general regards Mangal as competent and honest. He doesn't speak so highly of everyone in the Afghan government.
I'll tell you the truth, you know, there's still some significant threats in Afghanistan, and it all deals with corruption. You know, just like any parasite, you know, you need a weak host in order to survive, and unless we continue to work hard at the central government to have some sense of accountability, these people adversely impact on the efforts that we're trying to put forward in Helmand Province.
We're expanding our forces to be able to bring some back to Guam as we look at a changing security environment. We're looking at partnering more closely with Australia to bring Marines into Darwin. What I expect to be able to see is more rotational forces as we bring forces out of Iraq and eventually out of Afghanistan, is that we bring them in the right force packages back into the Asia Pacific.
His biggest concerns?
We have the ongoing Korea Peninsula issue that we have to ensure remains stable. So that's really my number one concern.
The Green Berets paid tribute recently at the gravesite of assassinated President John F. Kennedy. 50 years ago, JFK authorized the Army's elite Special Forces soldiers to wear the unique headgear by which they're now known.
JFK showed his unwavering support for Special Forces, officially authorizing the beret.
Fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die.
They've continued to engage in maintaining foreign internal defense. Here we see them going on a night raid with the local Afghan forces.
Tell them to call them out, try to get their attention.
In this firefight in a mosque, Green Beret-trained Iraqi soldiers take the lead. Over the years, the Special Forces mission has grown to include language and cultural skills, training in domestic and foreign weaponry, mountaineering, and water attacks. Physical rigor and aerial assault capability have always been a requirement. Three men placed a commemorative wreath at the Eternal Flame at President Kennedy's gravesite in Arlington Cemetery. Secretary of the Army John McHugh, Special Forces Commander Brigadier General Edward Reeder, and Second Lieutenant Christopher Kennedy McKelvey, great-nephew of the slain president. Reporting from the Pentagon, I'm Sergeant First Class E.L. Craig.
He was an unlikely hero, only 5'5" and 110 pounds, an orphan from Texas. He was promoted rapidly through the enlisted ranks and received a battlefield commission. He is credited with destroying 6 German tanks and killing as many as 240 enemy soldiers.
Audie may have been the last American war hero. He was the best combat soldier in the 200-plus year history of the United States.
After the war, Murphy moved to Hollywood, where he made 44 movies. His best-known film was a dramatization of To Hell and Back, his own account of his war experiences.
He set a legacy that carries on today, very, very alive,